All right, Avalanche fans, welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast. The Avs have secured their spot in the postseason, and in the process, are number one in the Central, and they do it on a game-winning overtime goal by Nathan MacKinnon, his 100th point of the season, the first time in his career that he's done that. A lot to get to on this episode of Locked On Avalanche. Let's get to it.
Your Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in and making it your first listen of the day. That's always appreciated. Follow us on our social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns, and opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. Follow us over on our YouTube channel over on YouTube. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live, and subscribe to our subtext. The link to that is in the show notes, whether you're listening or watching. And sign up, subscribe to that, and converse with Kyle and I on a one-on-one basis. All right. The Avs have locked up a playoff spot, secured a playoff spot. They do it in a fashion a lot of us, I think, wanted to be a little bit more smooth when you're going up against the San Jose Sharks. All you had to do was there was other scenarios where the Avalanche could clinch. But when you have that one scenario that's just like win and get it over with, that's just what I focus on. I don't care about the other stuff. I don't want to rely on other teams losing or battling and over there, whatever, to push us into the playoffs. Although that did happen, I believe. Like I think by the time the Avalanche were going into overtime, they had clinched it. That's neither here nor there. You went into that game knowing we win, we clinch. Mm-hmm. And if you didn't win, it was just delaying the inevitable. Avalanche are in a good position, obviously, to lock up a playoff spot. But you want to do it early, as early as possible, get it over with. But for the Avs, it's more than that. It's more than just securing the playoff spot, because now you are, unlike last year, you're battling for seeding and you're battling for positioning. And the Central is in play. And by winning that game, although they are tied with points with Dallas, and as they're recording this, I don't even know if they're playing tonight, Dallas or
they are not.
Neither of them is playing.
That's last time I checked. I don't believe any Central team is playing tonight.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot. I remember not a lot of games, but either way, like you're tied with, no, yeah, they're not. So you're tied with them in points, but right now you still have the game in hand over both of them. You all have 98 points, but the Avs, based on that points percentages, the number one team in the Central right now. We'll get into how crazy that is, but just your thoughts on the game right now and the Avs clinching and everything that comes with it.
We've mentioned this a couple times on this run, how crazy it is that we were talking about getting into that wild card position and now clinching the playoffs in the number one spot. You would like to see that Sharks game be a little bit more, I don't know, flex on them, for lack of a better term. Mm-hmm. Like they had the game in hand in the beginning and kind of let them make it a competitive game. But honestly, if you look at everything the Avalanche have gone through this season, injuries, getting over Burakovsky and Kadri and the whole storyline there, and to still being in the top spot in the Central, Nathan MacKinnon hitting 100 points, it's just further evidence that, hey, the Avalanche aren't that bad.
I just shake my head at this season and where the Avalanche are. I saw one of those videos, when they have like, they'll show like the standings and they'll kind of like, it's, they'll put like it's a video and it's
the like standings,
the standings, and they go up and down, and they, it's over the course of the season. And you see the Avalanche like just go up, down, up, down, up, down, and then they go down to like sixth, and and it ends obviously right now with them in first place. Like, this has not been a smooth sailing season. And for the Avalanche to not only like we said, like clinch a spot, but to be in the number one spot in the Central, I think we have to see how this season ends, right?
Yeah.
We clearly don't know that yet. But I think if you are able to make it, I'll just throw this out there now. If you're able to at least make it to the Stanley Cup final again, I think you look back on this season as this will be a memorable year because of everything the Avalanche went through. Like, you're following up your championship season. Sure, you lost some guys, right? That's we understand that, and it's not the same team. Probably not as good a team as last year, but still a very good team. And then you just get decimated with injuries all season long. And you have the guy at the top of that for the duration of the year is your captain, who you knew was going to be out for a while, but it's gone much longer than anybody anticipated. You had that. And you could put the Avalanche roster on a wall, throw a dart on it, and that guy has missed time.
Yep.
It's insane, like just how much, just everything that this team has had to go through, the trials and tribulations of this season. And not only did they clinch a playoff spot, but they are number one in the division.
And it's funny
that, man, like you can't understate it. You cannot understate it with the accomplishment that this is.
It's funny you bring it up, like the way you said, if they make it to the Stanley Cup. Just think if this team runs the table, wins the cup again, goes back to back. We spent the offseason talking about where does the 21 team stack up against the 01 and the 95-96, in the upper echelon, the Mount Rushmore of teams. Now the conversation around this team will be, could you imagine if this team was healthy all year? It's one of those that could you imagine this team with Landeskog all year, what they would be doing? They would be having a Boston Brew, and it'll never be content. It'll always be what if, and this team will what if their way right through the playoffs, because when you see this team play, granted you saw them take their foot off the gas against the Sharks, but when this team is sold out and commits to that 60-minute game, there's not a lot of teams in the league that could beat this Colorado Avalanche team.
No, and we've said it for a while now. Like this Avalanche team is different. Like they're different than last year, and what we're going to get is a team that does let their foot off the gas. Like they're just, it's how they've done it all year for whatever reason. You would hope that you do that enough times. You're like, okay, guys, we can't keep doing that, but for whatever reason they do. Okay. And it's not that they're just taking the other team lightly. It's just, they don't give you that, to use the phrase, air quotes, like the full 60.
Yeah.
But okay. Like I think every team does that. The majority of teams do that. It's a very long season. You're not going to get 100% game in and game out, right? Guys are dinged up. It's the nature of the sport. But we said it recently, how this team follows those games up is kind of where like they show you what they're really made out of. And that's why going into the playoffs, I feel really confident. Yeah, you got some good teams out there. Sure you do. Like Minnesota is a very good team. Obviously Dallas is a good team. They haven't been, playing super well, but they're still in it, clearly. You have Vegas, who I hate to give credit to, but I have to. There's going to be challenges, and it's not going to be like last year where you're ripping through these teams. At least I don't anticipate that. But man, like when this year has been a trying year for the Avs, but we said it a lot last year and how they were winning games and how that's good for them going into the postseason, because they can say, we can beat you this way, we can beat you that way. As if you want to make a comparison between last year and this year's team, that's it.
Yeah,
they're following up losses with really good wins, and God, like how could you not want that in the playoffs? Because yeah, you'll lose a game in the playoffs, but are you going to follow it up? I have every reason to believe that this team can do that and make the adjustments.
Instead of sweeps that we got last playoffs, it'll be 7-game series the whole way.
It could be, yeah. The complete opposite from last year.
Yep.
It could be. It could be. We don't know. Let's get into the Sharks game a little bit because it started off, like you said, like, okay, this is going to be a touchdown.
Yep.
Didn't turn out that way, but they do get the win, and Mr. Nathan MacKinnon gets his 100th point in game-winning fashion. But first, we're going to hear from FanDuel, and the NBA playoffs are almost here. And now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet, not if your team. Well, I'm going to say if the Knicks don't win. How about that, Kyle?
It's not possible.
If your first bet doesn't win, just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Then you can bet on everything from the money line, 2-point scores, and 3-pointers drained. I'm probably going to ask you this until you know the answer, but do they have their first round?
Not yet. Not that I've seen.
How many games are left in the NBA? I know NBA and NHL usually run close, but
yeah, I was looking this morning.
Okay.
I did not see anything.
All right. Well,
continue and I will find out for you.
You keep your eye on that because I am interested to know who their first round opponent is. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same game parlay. So don't miss the chance to get your no sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/locked on. That is FanDuel.com/locked on to learn more and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Cleveland Cavaliers.
That's for sure. That's who they're playing. Wow, I thought Cleveland was terrible. See, I don't follow the NBA. So
Knicks are the 5 seed. So,
wow. Okay. Are you feeling good about that?
Cleveland, brah.
All right. Go throw some scratch down, my man.
No sweat.
Here
we go.
Excuse me. All right. So let's get into this game against the Sharks. And like we said, like it's when you got Jack Johnson, anytime Jack Johnson can score on you, he's got a good shot, right, and stuff like that. But, and it was deflected off a defender's leg and kind of went in. And then 2 minutes later, Evan Rodriguez gets a nice rebound with, he had Nathan MacKinnon, his first point on the night, and Mikko Rantanen gets an assist on that one too. You're like, game over.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You were like, again, going in, you needed the win to clinch the playoff spot. You get those 2 goals minutes apart. Jack Johnson, Evan Rodriguez, things are you're doing everything right. And maybe here's the rub on the Avs. You kind of let teams back into it. They do give up one, but they get another one back with Nathan MacKinnon. And then in the third, you give up 2 goals in the third, minute and a half apart from each other. So there's good and bad in this game. Obviously, the good is that they ended it. But what do you kind of take away just from the effort in this game?
The bad that you mentioned could not be that bad if the Avalanche could fix this power play. My goodness.
Well, it's not that it needs fixing because it had a great March, right? I think they were the best power play team in the league for the month of March.
They're sitting in third. I get that.
Yeah, but you're right. Like this is like the power play is a roller coaster.
Yeah.
When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it just seems to fall off a cliff. There's no in between for the Avalanche.
Yeah, it can look pretty all day long, but this is not a dog show. You're not going to get best in show. You want to convert something. You're walking out of there like 0 for 3 on the power play when that game is close, and then those penalties late. I mean, you're just like, come on, let's just get out of here. And that final goal, it was frustrating to see them kind of take Sam Girard and spin him around the opposite way and then take that shot and really lay Georgiev down and then shoot it over him. You're just like, why is this going to overtime? You're going back and really questioning every decision, every play that was made. And it was just a frustrating game. And for Nathan MacKinnon to seal it in overtime, that was great. But I mean, you shot 42 shots and you were still 0 for 3 on the power play. Like it's those things that if you clean this up, you wouldn't have to go to overtime.
This is kind of like a mini playoff series here, right? Because you turn right around and you're playing San Jose again. It's essentially, I want to say it's like a back-to-back, but you're not going anywhere. Like it doesn't happen a lot, right? You don't
you
really
get over
see
the weekend, you get a back-to-back where you're basically it's LA to Anaheim.
Yeah, this whole thing is in California, right? But you do like home and home back-to-backs against teams. You rarely do you play the same team twice in their own arena. It's just an odd chalk this in, for another odd scheduling move that the Avalanche have gone through for this season. What
it's what do you wake up, you're like, what are we going to do at San Jose today? We have a game tomorrow.
Yeah. Right.
Take
But here's the thing, like, but
down.
it's like you look at this as okay, like what we were talking about before is in the playoffs, because you're playing the same team, obviously. How do you come back after a loss? I'm not saying the Avalanche lost this game. Obviously, they didn't, but they didn't play like they would like to. Okay, you're going up against that same team again. Watch the adjustments the Avalanche make. I fully expect this thing to be they're going to crush them. I genuinely feel that way because they're preparing. It's almost like preparing for a postseason series. Granted, it's the San Jose Sharks, but I'm looking for, okay, you didn't play the way you wanted to in game 1 of this series. Watch what they do in game 2 of this series. It's going to be a completely different game. Avs are not going to take their foot off the gas at all. I expect this to be like a 6-3, 6-2 game or something like that.
As you should. It's the San Jose Sharks. You have
right.
It's not like it's the New Jersey Devils. Like, go out there and have a day. Everybody, let's have a career day and continue on.
Right. Nathan MacKinnon gets the overtime winner. Kind of a breakaway. Who threw him that puck?
That was Taser.
Taves. Yeah, threw him the puck at a breakaway, and man, he ended. I only wish it was Mikko Rantanen that threw him I wish it was MacKinnon who fed Mikko, so we get the 100 points and the 50 goals done and out of the way. But MacKinnon gets the goal, his 100th point of the season, which is now his career high. His previous high was 99. I kind of feel like this is so under the radar.
Yeah.
And even though it's Nathan MacKinnon, because you have Connor McDavid doing what he's doing, just putting up 10,000 points in the season. Everything else is just like, there's 100 points. 100-point seasons are they're almost, a lot of guys get them now. And I'm not saying that they're not as impressive. They are. It's almost like when a running back will get like 1,000 yards.
Or when Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa were chasing the home run record.
Yeah. So it's still a big deal. It's definitely a big deal for him because that's a career high. It's a big deal for the franchise because nobody's done it since Joe Sakic. So he's quietly having an amazing season. I don't want him to say it's like his best season ever. I mean, you could say that just based on the number alone. And the fact that he's missed so many games and he's at that number. If you ask me, Connor McDavid's winning the Hart. That's put it in the bank. Who the finalists are? Tell me a reason why you should not be including Nathan MacKinnon in the finalists.
I have this sneaky feeling that Robo in Dallas is going to get a lot of love. Because he also hit 100 points.
Yeah.
And for Dallas to stay atop of the Central almost all year, wire to wire, I have a feeling that he's going to get some overinflated love. It doesn't matter because it's going to be Connor's award.
Right.
But I believe you're going to hear a little extra Robo love.
I'm looking up. Jason Robertson has played in every game this year.
And see, that's another thing that they could say.
That's why I think Nathan MacKinnon is in there. Nathan MacKinnon has played 65 games this season, right? And he's got 100 points. Robertson has played all 77 and he has 101 points. So MacKinnon has played that many fewer games.
Here we go. Points percentages for players.
I mean, he's played 12 less games and he has one less point.
Yeah.
I mean, good Lord. Like, and his 5-on-5 production is unmatched. And not even Connor McDavid is where Nathan MacKinnon is at 5-on-5. If Nathan MacKinnon played every game this season, maybe he missed 1 or 2 games. He is in the 100 teams for points.
I'd say 120
Easy.
to 130.
Yeah. 130 is a stretch. That is
if
tough.
we get full 82.
Let's see. I mean, because he's at what did I say? He's got 65 games. He's at 100. The Avalanche played 75 games, so they have let's see, 6 more games to play. Okay, so say he's like 1.5 per game player. So that's 12 points right there. No, that's not 12. That's I don't know. I'm doing math on the fly here. Maybe 130 is a stretch, I feel, but he could be in the 1-teens to low 120s.
Yeah, and it's
come on.
You got to think with Mikko also having the year that he is. If Nate was there for every game of the Mikko run as well, he's getting some of those points.
Yeah. So he's been incredible this year, and I think in the end, like whoever votes on these things, who are the finalists, they will look at that. They will look at, man, he's got as many points as all these other guys in a dozen less games. Good Lord, those numbers are crazy. So he's when we do our offseason, who's our MVP, he's going to be in that conversation. It's going to be the usual suspects here, but I don't take this guy for granted.
No,
I genuinely don't. He is a superstar in every stretch of the imagination, and he's showing you that. That was a beautiful play, and what better way to get your 100th point first time in your career to send your team to the postseason. So good job, Mac. We will talk about Mikko Rantanen, who is sitting on 49 goals. He's waiting for one more to join the 50-goal club, and he's still got a shot to hit 100 points himself.
Mm-hmm.
So we will discuss that, and we do have a sound check to get to as well, my man. So, but first, we're going to hear from Indeed. When you're drafting your fantasy team, do you ever wish you could handpick the best stars like Nathan MacKinnon for your business team? If you're building your talent roster, you need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Don't spend hours on multiple job sites looking for candidates with the right skills when you can do it all with Indeed. Find top talent fast with Indeed's suite of powerful hiring tools like matching, assessments, and virtual interviews. If you hate waiting, Indeed's US data shows over 80% of Indeed employers find quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job. And something that we love about Indeed is that it makes hiring all in one place so easy, because with Indeed matching as soon as you sponsor a post, you get a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description, and boom, it's like hiring at warp speed. Indeed knows when you're growing your business, you have to make every dollar count. And that's why with Indeed, you only pay for quality applications that match your must-have job requirements. So visit Indeed.com/lockedon to start hiring now. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon, Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application pricing not available for everyone. Need to hire? Then you need Indeed. All right, so Mikko Rantanen sitting on 49 goals. Pretty confident he will get 50. It very well could happen in this game against the Sharks. It almost happened on a couple of occasions in the last game, especially early on. I think he wants to, when each game starts, he wants to just get it early to get it over with.
Yeah.
And then he can just go back to playing. But he had that one early right in front of the goal and kind of tried to do the little like flip thing, and it hit the crossbar. He had some other really good looks in the game that sailed wide. Some were safe. I think he had 8 shots on goal on the net. or in the game, excuse me. But I'm seeing some concern, I guess, from some of the fan base, feeling like they were trying to force the puck to Mikko to get him 50. I don't see it that way. And here's why. Like, Mikko Rantanen has 49 goals on the season. He is a goal scorer. They feed him the puck all the time. This is nothing different. I think people are just zeroing in on it for one, because he's got 49 and he's looking for 50. And then Altitude feels the need to put a circle around him when he's out on the ice. Please stop doing that.
Yeah.
It's not necessary. I know where he is. I can see him. And then if he scores a goal, Mosier's going to let us know it was Mikko Rantanen. I don't need the circle around him. I get it. But I don't. This game was too important for if the Avalanche, if this was last year and everything was really buttoned up, they're probably forcing him the puck for the duration of these games. Not now. These games are important. If they're saying they're important, they're saying they want to win the division. If you want to win the division, you're not force feeding the puck to a player to get him a goal. It's not happening. If it's late in the game and it's under control and they're up by 4 or 5 goals, yes, they are going to feed Mikko Rantanen the puck. Not at any point before then. It might just look that way to you because you're looking for it, and they feed him the puck anyway because he's one of the best offensive players on the team.
For those that would like to say that they are forcing Mikko Rantanen the puck, I say good.
Exactly.
He has 49 goals.
Right.
If they were force feeding Eric Johnson the puck, I would have serious concerns, and I would email lockedonavalanche@gmail.com and say, I have a concern. Let me email you my concern.
Yeah.
No, it's what you're supposed to do. They're not trying to help him get to 50, because guess what? They're going to help him get to 51. They're going to help him get to 52. You're going to funnel the puck to the hot hand. And guess what? Mikko's a hot hand.
And they were looking for him like they normally do.
Yep.
And when they were getting him the puck, they were getting him the puck in good positions to get a good shot on net, a medium to high danger shot on net. It wasn't like they were making these cross-ice passes that were getting picked off and then San Jose was going in the other direction. You feed him the puck because he can score.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous talking point to feel like the Avs were force feeding the puck to Mikko Rantanen just to get him a 50th goal. That's not the case. It's not the case for that entire game because it was never in the bag. And we'll see. We'll see if he doesn't get it for the first 55 minutes of this game, but it is 6-1, 6-2. You will see it. He might not come out of the game for the last five. He might do a 5-minute shift. So he can be out there just to try to get it over with for him.
This is
but
why
it doesn't happen. You're looking for something that's not there. And anytime he touches the puck, people are like, oh, they're forcing him the puck. Stop it. Just stop it.
This is why you want to really beat down the Sharks. So they pull the goalie. You have an empty net to play with, and then get it over with.
Yep. Or what could happen is when it's, like I said, 6-1, 6-2, you pull your goalie, even though you're winning by that much. So you get the extra skate, and it's like you got a power play and just feed him the puck that way.
Which is, is that an advantage?
Don't do that because that's why Jared Bednar is coach for as long as he has been, and I will never be in the NHL. We were going to talk about Jared Bednar and how amazing he is yet again, but we're kind of running out of time, so we won't do that right now. But we'll have plenty of time to do that probably next week. But for right now, we just have to get to our sound check and then wrap this bad boy up. Our sound check game songs that Kyle and I pick that best summarize the most recent game. These songs go up on a playlist over on Spotify. You can follow along. Just search LOA Soundcheck. This is volume number 2. So what do you got for this one, sir? The Locked On Avalanche. Yes, the Locked On Colorado Avalanche against the Locked On San Jose Sharks.
Easy. You clinch the division. You got your X up there. We Ready by Archie Eversole.
I didn't know. I don't really listen to a lot of rap, but as soon as I started listening to this song, I'm like, oh, I know this song.
Yeah, this is like ultimate hype song. Like you play it, you're like, get your headphones on, you're ready just like to punch something, you're ready to go, run up the stairs, like it's time to go.
I feel like this is a big like boxing intro song, right? I'm just like, if I was about, or UFC, like one of those things, like, yeah.
High school football, like getting ready to run out the tunnel, like you're playing this, you're ready to go.
Necessary Roughness.
Yes. Like, oh yeah. I remember
Classic. Or The Program. Remember The Program? That was a great football movie.
What was that one season show they had on ESPN? Play Callers or something? Playmakers?
You're gonna kill it was Playmakers, right?
Yeah.
I think it was Playmakers. What a show.
What a show.
And I think the conspiracy theory is there was no season 2 for that because the NFL forced ESPN to stop making that show because it made them look bad.
It makes sense. That's why you can't play NFL Blitz anymore.
Yeah, that's true. So what a show. If you can go find that, Playmakers, go watch it. For me, I went with a kind of one of these like they've been around for a while, but like one of these jam bands that seem to be making a name for themselves. They go by the name Twiddle, and they have a great song called The Mission. It's exactly what we're at right now. We've secured that first thing and just getting into the playoffs. Now it's winning a division. After that is when you start your playoff surge. And this is step 1 of the mission.
Yep.
And the Avalanche did it. And it never gets as good as a team as the Avalanche have, never gets old when you clinch that playoff spot. Because even though you're a good team and people expected it of you, just the season is a grind. So when you get that, satisfaction of, okay, there's one thing that we wanted to do, and we've got that. We can check that off the list. It never gets old clinching a playoff spot.
And I remember the days that this is all I used to wish for, if we could just make the playoffs.
Yeah, it used to be hit or miss going into each season, but over the past handful, it's like expected, which is what you want.
It's a nice feeling.
As a fan, it is. So other people might hate it, but they hate us because they ain't us, as the saying goes. So, all right, that's going to wrap it up. I mean, you brought in the rap, so I had to bring up
That's what I do.
That'll wrap it up for today. I do not believe we'll have a Friday show. I have a fundraiser I have to attend. Never mind. It's going to be fun, but so I doubt we will have a show tomorrow. And then they got the back-to-back right over the weekend. So we got a lot to talk about on Monday's episode. So make sure to tune in for that. Until then, he is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. Thank you for making the Locked On Avalanche podcast your first listen. Enjoy the games, and we'll see you guys later.